All right, chat. So we're back with another trade recap. We got a fresh cut, you know what I'm saying? But the Nasdaq ended our fucking winning streak today, bro. The market maker got us, bro. Ricky Smith, bro. Ricky Smith, if you're out there watching this, bro, I'm gonna make you pay for this. But yeah, this is a loss we took today. In my opinion, it was definitely A plus, but it just didn't fucking work. All right, part of the game. It happens. You know what I'm saying? So without any further ado, let's go ahead and hop straight into the recap. So let me go ahead and come to market open. All right, boom, 9:30. There we go. All right, so coming into the day, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I was bullish coming into the day for the fact that we had SMT at these previous weekly lows. We are rejecting off of this weekly fair value gap, and as you can see, the candle is clearly expanding to the upside. All right, and same thing on the daily. We sweep out all these lows and we start closing back within the range. And I believe this is I don't think that's what it looked like coming to the market. So coming into the market, the candle was definitely, it looked like it was gonna expand to the upside, and it didn't look like a doji like it does now. But coming into the morning, it did look like the candle did want to expand higher. So scaling down onto the 4-hour chart, we see we have this unfilled 4-hour gap, right? So we have this unfilled 4-hour gap. Let me go ahead and just delete that here. Delete these, delete these, delete these. So again, I was initially bullish coming into the day. However, I saw we did sweep out these highs. We did respect this order block. And you can see we perfectly reject it, come off the consequent encroachment of it, and we begin to move lower. And also we have this unfilled 4-hour here. So my idea was, all right, cool. Wait, I believe we also had an SMT as well. Let me fact check that. Let me fact check that if I do remember correctly. Yes, and we also had an SMT above as well. So we swept out these highs. We had an SMT inside that order block, which was a premium. So liquidity sweep, order block, consequent encroachment being respected. SMT, we reject it and close back under the order block. And we have an unfilled 4-hour gap that we were able, well, that I was trying to use as my draw on liquidity. So as you can see here, ES also respects this 4-hour gap here, and same thing. 4-hour fair value gap in the premium, consequent encroachment gets respected, and it looks like we want to expand lower into this low just above the 4-hour gap. So from there, I was like, okay, I could probably catch some shorts into there, and if we get a long opportunity, we could look for a long to the upside. So going on to the 1-hour, what do we have? Asia accumulation. London comes up, manipulates all these highs. We had a bunch of good time-based liquidity right here from Friday, March 6th. So we swept out all these relative equal highs up there. And what do? Let me make sure it's the right kind of, yeah. So what do? We invalidate this 1-hour gap right here. So we invalidate that 1-hour gap. You can see it did not hold price. We displaced through it, closed through it. And what do we have? A balanced price range right here with this 1-hour bearish gap. And what do? We tapped into it, and as you can see, we start rejecting. What else do we have? Asia low, and another low that's pretty relatively equal with Asia, only being 23 points apart from each other. So we have good targets to go lower, and a good, it seemed to be like it was going to be a sell profile because high of day was made with SMT inside of a key level. So accumulation, manipulation, and I figured New York was going to be the distribution to the downside. So and then forgot to point that out, we also had the same phenomena occur here on the NASDAQ right here with this gap as well. I mean, my bad, on the S&P 500. So if you go down to the 15-minute, you can see, boom, change in the state of delivery. So right there we had our higher time frame, CISD out of that 4-hour order block. And right there, you can see we're approaching into a premium. You can see we're coming into a premium here. After previously having rejected that hourly level, we come back into it again, and there's also, a very tiny 15-minute fair value gap there as well. So I'll just go ahead and just mark that out. 50. Actually, I'll use the other line. Make it a lot more simpler. So rejecting an hourly, rejecting a 15-minute bearish gap. What the fuck? Whoops. 15-minute fair value gap. So rejecting several bearish levels. As you can see, we're respecting bearish order flow. bullish is not being respected. And also, we were above the midnight opening price and the 8:30 opening price as well. So give me one moment here. So we were above both of the opening prices. So that means we're heavily in a premium. And then what do we just do? Inside that 15, we swept out the buy side right here. So we have liquidity swept, delivering off a higher time frame PD array, and we retap said higher time frame PD array, taking out liquidity inside of it. So now if we go ahead and just get into market open, go ahead and just fast forward this. So boom, 9:30 manipulates higher. Manipulates higher. As you can see, we invert this gap and we begin to start moving lower. Actually, it just ends up chopping for a little bit before we start moving lower. So right here, I believe this is where the gap formed, was it? Yeah, so around this time is where the gap formed. So we pretty much manipulated up. We started coming down slowly, kind of, basically started chopping around for a bit. And then around 9:50, the macro time, that's where we started seeing that displacement back to the downside. So let me go ahead and get rid of that CISD here. Let me get rid of that 15-minute gap and get rid of that hourly gap. And you can see here, we reject perfectly off this 15-minute gap that was above us in a premium. Doing what? Rebalancing the range. So we have several bearish confluences. Range rebalanced. 15-minute PD array rejected from. Not a single body closure. Look at this. We didn't even get a single tick of body closure inside. Literally, the bodies respected perfectly well. And we swept liquidity coming into that PD array. What do we do out of that PD array on the 5-minute? On the 5-minute, we quite frankly formed a bearish 5-minute gap. So we formed a bearish 5-minute gap right there. So right here, same thing occurs. Liquidity swept. So liquidity swept into that 5-minute gap. And let me see, do we have an SMT there by any chance? Yeah, we also had an SMT inside that 5-minute gap as well. So right here, SMT. SMT. So liquidity sweep into the 5-minute. SMT with that 5-minute gap. We have an important fucking 1-minute gap that broke structure to the downside. And also, this was a first presented. This is also an important first presented 5-minute fair value gap that got respected. So right here, we create a balanced price range. We change the state in delivery, and we also break structure. So very, very A plus. Why? Because we have relative equal lows that you could target down here. And we also have the 4-hour unfilled imbalance that we could target. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the range there. 1 second. We come back down onto the 1-minute. So I went ahead and set a limit on the 1-minute gap, looking to take this down into the Asia low for a total of 1.74R. So right here, boom, boom, boom. We get entered in. Right here, we get entered in. And where was my break even at? My break even was right here at this low. And I'm about to show you guys where the market cooked me. So I didn't take this on NQ. I took this on MNQ, by the way. So, and we're getting entered in. Right here, we edged the break-even spot, right? Come back down. Actually, wait, where was it? I don't believe it was that one because I had a different break-even. Or maybe I'm just tripping. Well, either way, regardless. This was my break-even spot. This intermediate term low right here, the 830 pre-market lows. That was my break-even spot. And the reason I wanted to do that is because, these are relatively equal. So it would really make no sense for me to go break even here when we have this one right here that's 3 ticks away. So right there, we edge it, we don't sweep it, and I'm still holding the trade. And as you can see, boom, it ends up stopping us out for a grand total of $500. But it's okay. I didn't take it on my Lucid account. I just took it on my Alpha Futures account. But let me go ahead and just switch over to the MNQ real quick. So on MNQ, you can quite literally see we created equal lows as well. So I was really expecting price to, just kind of deliver lower and take out these equal lows at the very least. And then from there, work our way down into the Asia lows. But it unfortunately didn't happen. So that's basically how I lost $500 today trading the NASDAQ on an eval account. In my opinion, it was an A+ setup. All the framework was there. Everything being bearish was being respected, bullish was being disrespected, and unfortunately, this is one of those cases where an A+ setup fails. And as you can see, pretty much after that, we invert that 5-minute, and then it just ends up draking to the upside. So boom, turns out we actually just wanted to manipulate a little bit lower, and then we ended up just going for the London high, unfortunately. But yeah, I guess we just like leaving unfilled imbalances. We just like leaving, relative session lows intact now with this new Nasdaq update. But I mean, I'm not bothered by I'm not bothered by this loss at all. Followed my rules, saw the model, executed. So I'm starting to lose that fear of executing, losing trades now. My model's there, and if it's lining up with everything that I want to see, then I'm getting more consistent at being able to consistently execute on my model. So that's always something good to take away. But yeah, I mean, there's gonna be days like this where you have a perfect A plus setup where ideally you're saying or you think it should deliver, and the complete total opposite of what happens. At the end of the day, it's just pretty much a game of probabilities. And I know a lot of other people actually took this short and got cooked on this short. So I know my mind is in the right place. I know my mind is in the right place. I'm not too bothered by it. We're actually doing pretty good on the Lucid account. We're halfway close to passing, and I just took a loss on the Alpha account. So I mean, it's only around like $550 in drawdown, so nothing too crazy. We could definitely still bring it back. But that's gonna go ahead and wrap up this trade recap. If you enjoyed it, if you liked the video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Definitely, especially if you learned something from it. I would greatly appreciate if you subscribed. And if you build an account today or something, make sure you use code BEV over at Alpha Futures. I would greatly appreciate your guys' support. But I mean, until next time, I'll catch you guys tomorrow for the next market move. Hope you all have a blessed, lovely day.